Alrighty, welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable Show, episode number 4, numero 4. This is number 4. Welcome. If you've been here with us the entire way through 1, 2, 3, and obviously here right now, then thank you so much.
Thank you.
Look, it is the morning here. It's quite early where we're recording at the moment. But we want to talk about something today which is exceptionally important, right? And obviously, like Dean and myself, we're coaches. We've been in coaching for quite some time. We train coaches. We work with people creating change, right? And like when you think about a coach and what a coach does, a coach is there for the purpose of helping somebody get from where they currently are, which quite often, right, is a place where they're stuck, there's stagnancy, there's dissatisfaction, there's discomfort. They're not where they want to be, right? We call it the nightmare. And where they want to be is over here in this dream life where things are going well. There's satisfaction, there's happiness, there's progression, there's movement, there's all the good things, right? And as a coach, our job is to get the person there and to obviously help them stay there and create that permanent change. And what we want to do today is do a really, really short podcast talking about something, and don't let the brevity fool you into thinking that it's not important, because what we're going to talk about today is exceptionally important in regards to your personal growth, not just in regards to your personal life, but your business life, your relationship, your health, your wealth.
Everything, right?
Everything
right? You do every day.
Every single day. So what we're going to talk about today is called raising your standards, something that Tony Robbins harps on about all the time. But look, it's worth attacking this from various angles, from various words, I guess, different people's words out of different people's mouths, right? Yep. Because, you know, at the end of the day, when you hear it once, you hear it once. When you hear it twice, you hear it twice. When you hear it from 3 different people in 3 different ways, maybe one of those ways will finally sink in and you'll step up and you'll change things around you. Because like we run events, we talk to people, we speak to, we do coaching every single day. And like, it's a consistent thing that people feel stuck, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
It's a consistent thing that people aren't getting their life where they want it to be. Yeah. And the fundamental thing is, like, what's the difference between somebody that gets out there and does it and someone that doesn't? It's the fact that someone's got a higher level of expectation of themselves, right? They've got a higher standard. And that's what we want to talk about today. And it's really, really funny because, like, you know, almost everything that I ever coach and I talk about, obviously, you know my story. And if you've watched a number of these podcasts now, then you know a bit of the story as well. But like, you know, I always like to reflect on myself and then try to, I guess, highlight points to my own personal history, right? Because I think like stories, we learn through stories. It's something that's, you know, been existent since the dawn of time, before we had bloody radio and TV and all that kind of stuff. It was transferal of knowledge and understanding and experience through words. And it's funny because like when I look back to when, you know, I was running amok during my teens and when I was in prison, like the thing that happened for me, and people ask me this all the time, they go like, what was the defining factor? What changed? And it's so funny and it sounds so cliche because you hear it a lot now. But the fact is that I did just decide to raise my standard of myself, my expectation. And the whole thing was, right, like I'm sitting in prison, I'm facing 10 to 15 years for a crime that I did not do. And it was like, you know, at what point does enough become enough?
Exactly.
At what point does, you know, and for me, this was my moment, right? And for you listening and you watching, like you're going to have your own moment, right? Because I know that every single person I've ever fucking spoken to has got areas of their life that they're not as satisfied as I'd like to be. They're not as happy as I'd like to be. They've got areas of their life that aren't at the standard where they want it to be. And like, the thing is, like, we've all got this area where we're like, you know what, fuck, I'm not happy with this, but it's always the same, right? And, you know, to parrot Tony Robbins, right, he said it, I heard this years ago and it stuck with me ever since I heard him say it. You know, he goes, change happens instantly, right? The thing that takes a while to change is you getting yourself to that point where you've had enough.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's funny, how much is enough? Well, every single person I think has a different threshold called the action threshold. The point where they go, you know what, this is it, I'm going to change things, right? And for me, like I'd increase the temperature in the pot quite a lot before I got to the point where I'm like, you know what, fuck Toddy, maybe enough's enough, mate. I'm sitting in prison, I'm about to lose all of my life. And for me, that was massive, it was dramatic. And that was the thing that made me say, you know what, maybe I should stop proving all these people right. Yep. Maybe I should stop living up to other people's expectations. Maybe I should stop being a fucking fool, take some responsibility in my life and actually get out there and fix it.
Yep.
And like that was the decision, right? That was the moment where I was like, this is my new standard. I'm now no longer going to be that person anymore. And that's what change is all about, right? Like we get to a point where it's like, that's it. I'm going to change things. And like maybe that point for you was walking into the doctor's office and the doctor saying, if you don't change your eating habits, you will die in 6 months. You know, maybe that point for you was, you know, your kids turning around and saying, you know, some outlandish thing, or you know, there's something that highlighted, holy shit, maybe I'm not doing this parenting thing as well as I could. Yeah. You know, maybe that thing for you was walking out to work one day and the boss saying, guess what? If you don't clean your act up, you're gone. Like, what is the thing that's enough for you? What's that point where enough is enough? That's the question.
The funny thing is with us humans, there's two ways that we do make change, and the small percentage of people will change on pleasure because they enjoy doing it, but majority of us wait till we hit rock bottom before we see change, right? Or before we make that decision.
And that's an important point. How do you psychologically get the edge on yourself so that you can have, in effect, psychological warfare with you? Because that's what it's all about, right? Because, you know, as much as you may like to admit it or deny it, the fact is that we're actually always in battle with ourselves, right? We've all got little voices in our head. We've all got niggling doubts. We've all got parts of ourselves that feel certain ways sometimes. And the fact is, we need to get the edge. This is why, like, I loved NLP and I got involved with it and I learned it originally, is because I wanted to get the edge on me. Like, I was doing sales work at the time and all that kind of bullshit back then. And I wanted to get the edge on me. I wanted to get better. I didn't know how. And that's one thing that NLP does give you. It gives you a set of tools and techniques and ways of thinking and behaving that allow you to, number one, start to control your mindset. Number two, control your emotions, change your behaviors. And that's what's really, really important, right? And what you were just saying this then is highly relevant, right? Like, there's two motivators that we have as human beings, right? We're either motivated away from pain or towards pleasure. And the fact is, and this is how people have inconsistent behavior too, by the way, inconsistent motivation, like that yo-yo performance. People that say, oh my gosh, I lost all the weight and then I found it all again. I lost all that weight and then I got it all back. That yo-yo performance in regards to weight loss, in regards to making money, is that the person is fundamentally motivated by pain. And the problem with being motivated by pain is that as soon as you get far enough away from the pain and no longer hurts, let's say the pain is fire, as soon as you're far enough away from the fire, then you're no longer scared of getting burned. Therefore, you're now not, you know, doing all the things that you had to do to get yourself out of the fire, right? And the thing is, and this is a critical shift that we need to make inside, right? And this, you know, it's highly linked, and we'll discuss this in another podcast. It's highly linked in regards to your values, highly linked in regards to your beliefs, but also your emotions as well. So what kind of baggage do you have stored back there in your past that's unresolved? Because that highly affects the way that you're motivated, whether you're more motivated from, you know, away from, or if you're more motivated by towards. But one thing that we all would get massive value from is beginning to shift our motivation, right? So that we're more motivated by the pleasure, the reward. And, you know, at the end of the day, when it comes to big changes, and this is really, really important, right? When it comes to big changes, sometimes you just have to stare the dragon right in the face and let yourself become fearful. Let yourself become angry. Let yourself become frustrated. Let yourself wallow in the pain. Right? Because the pain is going to be the thing that makes you move. And a lot of people don't want to feel the pain, right? They want to ignore the fact, like they'll wear extra baggy clothes. If they're, I'm going to use harsh language here because we sugarcoat too much shit, but you're fat, there's fat in your stomach, this is hanging there, you hate it, right? So what do your friends do, right? They humor your story, right? They humor the narrative. They don't say, oh, fuck, you're looking fat, because they're polite. They're your friends. They don't want to make you feel bad. They go, oh, you're just looking a little bit overweight. Little bit. Listen how we soften the language, right? And this all ties back into the premise of today's episode, which is our standards. And these are all the different little insidious, tiny, covert, indirect ways that we make it okay to have a lower standard of ourselves, a lower standard of the world around us, and therefore find ourselves stuck in pain, but being okay stuck in that pain because we ignore it, we minimize it, we make it smaller than it really is. You're fat, you don't like it, and then, you wear big clothes so that, you can't see the fat. It's like you're hiding the thing you're hiding the trigger that is going to trigger significant growth for you.
Yep.
Like a good strategy, you're PT, you know this, right? A good strategy. If you want to lose that fat, right? You want to have it gone. Number one, you need to get into the pain, embrace the pain, because that's going to make you just go, you have to get sick of it, right? You want to look in the mirror and look at all those parts of your body that you do not like. And you just have to become so disgusted and so just that's it, I've had enough, right? And that's that, once again, when is enough enough? Right. But if you keep hiding it from yourself, it's like, well, enough's never going to be enough, because you're always saying, I'm just a little bit overweight. I'll do it tomorrow. Mañana, tomorrow.
Yeah, so use it as fuel, basically,
right?
Use
the pain as fuel.
But just to clarify, though, we're not here to fat shame or anything. And what we're saying is that if you actually want something in life and it's important to you, then do something about it instead of complaining.
Correct. And this is
raise your standards.
This is what's extremely important too. If it is important to you to, because let's talk about body types. Yes, there's health to it, right? And it's funny because if we look out there today, and some people may not like what I'm about to say, but fuck you. If you fucking disagree with what I'm about to say right now, you're part of a bigger problem. And that is that there are different movements out there, right? And I'm not necessarily political at all, but I do observe what's out there, right? And I do observe that you've got radical left ideologies, right? Leftist political party, right? And that leftist ideology is very much about the group, the collective, everything being equal, everything being fair for minorities and stuff like that. And everything having to be this kind of nice, sugar-coated fucking thing. But the thing is, right, if you think about it, that's really this values level 6 thinking. Values level 6 with 4 and 6 combined in this dirty little dance.
Yeah.
and the worst of both sides coming out, right? Because they're both highly judgmental and highly righteous levels of thinking. It's righteousness. Values level 4, righteousness, right? Blue thinking is I'm right and I'm fucking judgmental. And if you do wrong, then I'm going to be extremely righteous in my judgment of you, right? And then you got values level 6, which is all about green thinking, which is all about fucking equality of this. Everything has to be equal. We can't make a decision unless everybody agrees and everybody's happy. Right? And they're extremely judgmental and righteous as well. And when you combine those two things together, what you get is a radical leftist but it's radical on both sides. It's radical on both sides because you've got radical leftists, which is highly equality driven. Then you've got also radical alt-right as well. Once again, different sides of the same equation when it comes to blue thinking. But then you've got that splash of green when it comes to the radical left with their equality and all that kind of bullshit. Yeah. But full circle, right? I just went on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah, we'll get back to value levels on another podcast.
A different podcast. But we come back full circle, right? And what you see is that in regards to, body types, is there's people that push this whole thing, love your body. 100%. I believe that go back to the 90s and the way that, they projected this image, for example, of women that was, highly unrealistic. It was skinny, it was peg thin and that kind of bullshit. It's not necessarily always sustainable, right? You've got people who are obviously, ectomorph body types, so they're naturally more thin. You've got people that are more mesomorph, you've got people more endomorph, so bigger, chunkier bodies.
And in saying that, you can be bigger, but you can be healthy as well.
Absolutely. So it's this fine line. And I think there are people that take this idea that you should be okay with your body and that skinny, super, super skinny, forcing yourself to be super, super skinny, because don't want to disregard people that are naturally skinny, right? Because it's both ends of the spectrums, right? And people always...
Because you can be skinny fat, which is unhealthy.
And you can be fat skinny, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Paradox. But it's when things start to become unhealthy, that's when you have to stop justifying the fact. It's don't judge me because of my body type. I'm happy. But the question is, well, are you healthy? And you go do a blood test and stuff like that. You find out that you've got, fucking all these different issues. You've got high cholesterol, you got a heightened risk of heart attack.
Yep.
Well, okay, cool. You get risk of dying.
Yeah.
It's not healthy. And then you've got people that say, love you for you. It's okay to be big and overweight and stuff like that.
Big, bold and beautiful, or what do they call it?
The thing is, at what point does it not become okay? And I think that point is when it starts to become unhealthy and you've got severe health risks, right? And I don't think it's okay that there are people that push this idea that, just be comfortable how you are right now, and how you are right now is this how it's supposed to be. Well, no, if you're not happy with how you are right now, then you have to stare the pain right in the face, full circle now, and slay the dragon. right?
That's if it's important to you, because at the end of the day, if you only want to live a short life and you're okay destroying your body, then
if you're cool with that, that's cool. However, the caveat is, be careful not to let yourself fall into the narrative, right, that keeps you trapped. It's like, well, this is just me, it's who I am. Well, no, if you're not happy with it, do not use that as an excuse to not take action, right? Because that's the difference. It's like there is a narrative there now that says, well, this is me and I should be happy, big, bold and beautiful, whatever the hell it is, right? Men, women, all, and everything in between, right?
For an example, once upon a time I had really fuzzy hair, right? And I just thought that was me, and I thought, this is me every day. But then someone cut it short, and then look at that, it's a different change.
What are you talking about, mate? You still do. As soon as you grow any hair on your face.
Ooh, bum fluff. Yeah. Still a 12-year-old inside.
But you have to embrace the pain, right? If you want to change things, if you want to change your finances, you have to embrace the pain.
Yep.
And it takes you looking at your bank account going, fuck, there is nothing there. I'm going to do something about it. And like anytime you lack motivation, embrace the pain.
Yep.
The pain will be the strongest fucking motivator you've ever got. It really, really is, right? Until the point that, you get that resolution and you start to shift and get motivated by the towards, it's like embrace the pain because it's the strongest motivator.
Yep.
Look in the mirror, look at that fat you don't like, look at the bank account, see that there's no money. Like look at the things that bring the pain to crank up the motivation because that's going to get you to the point where enough is enough. And when you get to that point where enough is enough and then you make a powerful decision like I did when I was fucking 18, which is I'm no longer going to be this little shithead that gets into trouble, that fights, that does crime, that does all these things, that proves all these people right that have always looked down on me growing up. You combine the pain with the realization that shit, this is all me. And you combine that with a decision that that's it, I'm going to change things. And then you just commit to little tiny improvements every single day. I guarantee over time, what you'll see is that little tiny marginal improvement over time puts you in a very, very different place. And that's how I changed my life, right? I had one moment of empowered decision where I was like, that's it, enough is enough. I'm changing things. That's because my pain was beyond the threshold. Here's my threshold here, right? The pain was up here, right? And then I combined that with the decision. I'm like, this is it. I'm going to get out and make my life better. I'm no longer going to prove people right. And that starts to move the needle. But then the next thing happens, right? You can have this empowered moment where you decide to raise the bar, raise your standard and expectation of yourself, because it's really for you, right? This is your expectation of you. You can have that moment, you can embrace the pain, you can use that juice, that emotional pain to combine with a powerful decision. However, if the people around you are part of that old way of thinking, then you need to start to distance yourself from them, okay? Show me your flock, I'll show you your future. Because see, when I got out, right, I've been to prison twice, just in case you don't know. The first time I was a drug addict, I was smoking crack every single day. I was involved with some really bad stuff. I made some horrible choices when I was 17. Horrendous what I did back then, right? It was very, very bad. And it could have cost me a potential life sentence as well in and of itself, right? And all those people that I was hanging around, right, that was my flock. Think about the standards, the beliefs, the values that those kind of people have in the drug scene and the violence and all that kind of shit back there. Think about the values. Show me your flock, I'll show you your future. When I got out of prison, I decided to stop taking drugs. Great fucking life choice. No more crack, no more. Now I came out, I had a lot of anger and resentment and disgust in my heart, which wasn't good. So I got out and I drank, I became an alcoholic. And I hated anybody in that drug scene. So I started to fight with them. So I heavily rejected the old values. I heavily rejected the old flock. Created its own little issue in and of itself. But once again, show me your flock, I'll show you your future. If I got out of prison, even though I was in severe pain and I made a great choice about, stopping the crack and stuff like that, if I got out and went back to the same flock, I guarantee I most likely would have forgotten my empowered decision. I would have forgotten that I was going to raise my standards, and I would have fallen back into an old loop of smoking crack again. Show me your flock, I'll show you your future. I go to prison when I'm 18. I'm a fucking raging alcoholic. I'm fighting every single night. I've been accused of raping someone when it was completely false and not true. I'm angry. I'm this hurt. I'm bitter. I go to prison. I'm facing 10 to 15 years. right? And I have this moment of absolute disgust with myself, with everything that's happened. I've got a massive amount of pain, and I make a decision. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to get out. I don't care if it takes 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I will get out. I will make my life something I can be proud of. Yep. Life waited for me to learn my lesson. Letter from the court comes in. Person who made the lie went to the police and said that it was all a lie. I get out. Show me your flock. I'll show you your future. All the people that I really had been hanging around, they were alcoholics, they were fighting, they were doing stuff like that. If I went back and hung around with all of them again, would I be here right now talking to you on this podcast, talking to you on this video? No, not a chance. Show me your flock, I'll show you your future, right? We have to be careful. Doesn't matter, you can have the most empowered moments of volition where that's it, I'm going to change things. But if you get out and go back to whatever it is that you're doing and, you know, all those people around you, right, that little group that you're involved in, right, if their standards of existence, of action, behavior and stuff like that is below the bar that you've just set, you've decided to step up to, it doesn't matter how strong you are emotionally, psychologically, you will be pulled down to their level. Yep. It's natural. We don't want to make our friends feel uncomfortable. And the question you have to ask yourself, right? Like, what's more important? Your growth, your future, the things that you want, or someone else feeling a little bit upset for a little period of time, and you know what? That bringing you back down because, like, you know, I've got a friend, right, and I'd go out with him and spend a weekend with him, and the whole, like, I'd fuck up all my growth, right? I'd go way back down. And I just had to stop hanging out with that motherfucker as much because it was detrimental to my future. Yep. And I still love him, right? He's my brother. But we don't hang out that much. We're at a different wavelength. And like, we can't hang out that much anymore because like our values and our points of views and our expectations, our communication patterns, all the things are so different right now. Show me your flock, I'll show you your future. It's very, very important to understand. And you're not a bad person for deciding that, you know what, I want more in life. That doesn't make you bad, right? That's you raising your standards. Okay, you're deciding, I want more, I deserve more, right? And if you've got people in your life that, you know, try to detract from what you want, tall poppy syndrome, whatever it might be, like, you know, there are people out there, right? As soon as they see someone starting to build a building that's bigger than theirs, what they want to do, right, is they try to tear down all the buildings so that they're either the same height as their own building or lower than their building so that they feel better than you. Right? And like sometimes those people are fucking friends, quote unquote friends. Once again, sometimes our greatest enemies are fucking friends. You have to be careful. And I've experienced people like that in my life.
Sometimes it can be the relationship you're in as well.
100%. Like toxicity, cut it.
Yep.
Where do you want to be? And this is, what's the filter? How do you know how to make the right choice? How do you know which steps to take and which direction to go? It's like, well, what do I want in the future? Yep. Like, let that be the guiding force. Where do I want to get to? Where do I want to go? And like, at the end of the day, right, like all people crave a sense of meaning, purpose, and direction in life. Like I can reflect when I first got out of prison, I went for a bit of a lull for a period there and I self-destructed a number of things in my life. And when I reflect back to how it's possible I did that, even though I was obviously infinitely in a better place than where I was, like I self-destructed a couple of different things in my life because I lacked purpose and direction. So it's like, well, where do I want to go? Where do I want to get to? And then we raise our standard. We say, that's it. I'm going to do it. We stare the dragon in the face and we slay it, the pain.
What's an example of raising your standard exactly? Well, let's be specific.
Okay, so
let's say one standard to raise.
One specific example, right? Let's say that you want to start to get more things done in the day, all right? Your standard for waking up in the day may be that you wake up at whenever you fucking wake up. You never set an alarm. Okay, well, here's one standard you can increase right now. You can say, that's it. From today onwards, I am going to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm going to get up straight away. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to drink a big cup of water. I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do a quick little, a 15-minute run or gym or whatever. And I'm going to do that every single day. That little raising that bar there in that one area of life, I guarantee it's a little micro habit, right? That in itself will impact many areas of your life. Your mental well-being will be better. Your body will be better. You'll have more time during the day because you get shit done when nobody else is awake. Yep. It's like it's one area, right? Like for me, I raise the standard. I'm like, that's it. I'm not going to go out drinking every single night. I raised my standard a second level to that too. I said, when I do go out, I'm not going to be getting blind drunk. I'll only ever have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drinks maybe, right? Before I'd have like 3 bottles of vodka and I'd be fucking rolling around the floor like a fucking turtle. Like, you know what I mean? Raising the standard. And it's not always about just cutting everything from our life, right? It doesn't have to be this big, significant, dramatic thing. Sometimes it can be incremental. Yep. I didn't get out and say, I'm not drinking anymore. I got out and said, if I do drink, the new standard was I will not be blind drunk. Yep. That was the new standard, right? And then as I enforced that standard, it became part of my character. Then I started to attract people into my lives that were in the same wavelength. Yep. Like I can't even go out with people that like getting blind drunk anymore because the connection's not there, right? You know, remember, like we are like antennas. Our thoughts and our feelings attract more of that to us, right? It sends out a frequency, right? So you have to be very, very aware that we reject the most this is called perceptionist projection, that we reject the most, we tend to attract into our life to bring that which is already inside into consciousness. For example, the classic example is the narcissistic relationship with the person that thinks that they can just heal them if they give them enough love. And that can be both male and female relationships, right? Like that dynamic right there, you got this person that's driven by love and connection and believes, you know, violence is this never okay, never to be angry. And like they're actually rejecting highly a part of them that is inside of every single human being, right? It's like, it's that part of us, that which we reject the most by necessity has to be brought into our awareness so that we can come to peace with it.
Yep.
Right? And if you say, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me, well, the fact is that's going to manifest somehow in your life. Yep. And unfortunately for people that are stuck in that narcissistic kind of empath loop, if you would, is that like they're there to teach you something. Hey, you've got that in you as well. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? And like that will continue to manifest in your life until you stop rejecting a part of you that's already there. And that's hard to swallow. That takes you being at cause, which cause and effects is a way of thinking where we let ourselves pretend that we create all the things that happen in our life for the purpose of our personal growth and evolution. Life gives us what we need, not always what we want. I did not want to go to prison. However, it was the best thing that happened to me. I talk about this in live events. The unwanted opponent, the hidden friend. Sometimes we get things chucked at us that we don't fucking want. However, they turn out to be hidden friends in disguise.
Yep.
But we have to raise the bar, right? We need to start to expect more of ourselves, exactly. Expect more of us, get comfortable in discomfort. See it up there, right? There's no growth in comfort. If you want to read a book or listen to an audible, listen to David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. That book is amazing. And it talks about the mental toughness and resilience that every single human being has, however, that most people don't even realize they've got inside. I suggest listen to it. It's called Can't Hurt Me. Fantastic book. But anyway, look, that's a short little podcast. We wanted to keep this one short. The premise of this entire episode has been that if you want to make some significant improvements in your life, whether it's with your health, whether it's with your wealth, whether it's with whatever, right? You have to raise the bar. And when you raise the bar, you raise that standard, right? You then need to make sure that you've got the right people around you to support that forward momentum. Show me your flock, I'll show you your future. And at the end, remember, start to expect more of you. You don't compare yourself with other people. That's silly. Compare yourself with yesterday and just go, shit, am I being better than I was yesterday? Yes. Am I being better than yesterday? Yes. 365 days from now, boom. You're in a completely different place. Anyway, this has been episode 4. I hope that you've enjoyed it. We try to keep it short, try to keep it sharp. If you love this, please go ahead, hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave us a beauty review. Yes, I know that I swear like I'm a fucking sailor. Good luck changing me, right?
Keep it raw and authentic.
Good luck changing me. It's not going to happen. But anyway, share this with people that need to hear this to raise the standard and step up. And once again, next week, we'll see you again. Take care. Much love, guys.
See you guys.